I think there's more to the Lil Nas X music video than what people are talking about. Montero is his first name, so I think it's an ode to him coming out as gay and kind of just saying, I don't give a flying fuck what society thinks. It sucks for him because a lot of parents had an issue with the music video, and they said that essentially he garnered a large underage fan base of children from the Old Town Road music video. Personally, I don't think that that's a musician's responsibility. Children are exposed to a lot of things that are much worse than Lil Nas X's music video, and he responded to the backlash from parents, and he stated that he basically sings about adult themes, and if you're letting your child watch that, the blame is on you. It has nothing to do with him. And I wholeheartedly agree with him, but I can see where the parents are coming from as well. There's something to be said about losing control of your children, and you know, how many times when you were a kid did you go and do something that your parents didn't want you to do, or go and watch something that your parents didn't want you to watch? I can understand why parents are telling him not to put these things out, because their children's attention is already on him. And this is my personal opinion, it's entirely possible that these parents don't have as much control of their children. Because think of it this way, right? Like, most people, or the average adult person with children, is probably working a 9-to-5 job. The kid goes to school, they come back before the parent is done and comes home. So if your child is old enough to, you know, functionally take care of themselves, chances are you're okay with leaving them alone for a few hours. And thinking about it realistically, the song is what, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. It's very easy to watch that. There's ways to get around like parental blocks and stuff like that, especially if you're old enough. There's all these little things that people aren't really talking about or looking at when they discuss the Montero music video. Because yes, Lil Nas X, 100%, I agree with him, but at the same time I understand where the parents are coming from, because it seems like in this day and age you don't really have a choice almost in what you're seeing and what you're viewing. For example, there was some crazy statistic that the average person in a day sees, I think, like, was it like 1,000 ads? Literally just going through your daily life, like maybe seeing billboards, seeing ads, stuff like that. Also, something to note, like where I live, there is, well, not right here, but I live very close to a major city, so obviously there's gonna be non-children themed things that are going to be happening. And one of those things, I believe it was the Sex Expo. I'm not sure if that's what it was called. Hold on, I want to see if that's actually what it was called. The name of the show, or the adult show, is the Everything to Do with Sex show. That's the name of it. The Everything to Do with Sex show. And I saw a billboard ad for it when I was driving, and it was on a public, like, it was in public. So I think that if you want to hold musicians responsible for the content that they're putting out, the music that they're putting out, the visuals that they're putting out, you should also be holding businesses and companies and government responsible for allowing certain things to be placed publicly for children to see. You can't cherry pick who you're upset at and who you're not, because as far as I'm concerned, the society we live in, everything is connected. So if you go after Lil Nas X for putting out an explicit music video, then you kind of have to go after the government, or you have to not go after them, but you should at least be thinking about lobbying the government to make rules around advertising more strict. Because if they don't see it in Lil Nas X's music video, they might see it in a show. Right? Like how many TV shows and movies and stuff like that have inappropriate scenes that are deemed to be fit for children, right? like, correct me if I'm wrong, but are there not very adult themes in these shows that are meant for underage people? Now, if you're talking about kids like, I don't know, like 12 and under kind of thing, like not even hit their teen, or you know what, let's say like 14 and under, or like 13 and under. I'm basing it off of my own personal immaturity when I was that age. So if you were more mature at that age, great for you, but I'm speaking from personal experience. For me, when I was, you know, 12, 13 years old, of course I was very, very impressionable. But that doesn't mean that I was going to copy everything that I saw. So then that leads us into another point, which is more leaning towards what Lil Nas was saying, which is that you allowed your children to watch this music video. Blame yourself. I don't wholly agree with that statement, by the way. What I want to say by bringing it up is that for children, they're most impressionable when it comes to their parents. So if their parents are exuding an influence on their child, that will probably be, or most likely be, the thing that the child emulates, I should say. Going back to my personal experience, I didn't end up a crazy mess. I think I'm a pretty, you know, like, I'm educated, I have a job, I'm married, like, I would say I went through life pretty okay. And that's because of my parents. Another thing is what real harm can be connected to a child watching this music video? I mean, think about it, right? Like, let's use a pop culture reference. Remember on Keeping Up with the Kardashians when Kylie and Kendall were like playing on this pole and like everybody had an issue with it and so on and so forth? Look at them now, right? Like, they're rich, they're successful. You can say that it's because of their family, but if everybody's worst fears were to be believed, then doesn't that mean that those two little girls that were dancing on that pole, which their family allowed, by the way, and it was on a show, so you can even say that they encouraged it in some form, both of those women are fine now because they are women. They both work, they both look healthy, they both seem happy. But, you know, a deep dive into the happiness of Kylie and Kendall Jenner, that's a whole different topic altogether. What I'm trying to say is, if we could 100% definitively connect a child of any age, I'm just saying under 18, if we can definitively connect a child watching an explicit music video to something that they do in their real life that causes them or themselves or another person harm, then yes, of course, Lil Nas X should not be putting out a music video like that. But we can't. So it's completely unrealistic and illogical, given all of the things that children are already exposed to and the level of influence parents have over their children. It just doesn't make sense to go after Lil Nas X for that music video. It just doesn't. In my mind, it doesn't. At the end of the day, Lil Nas X isn't Satan himself. If you want to use that logic, if you want to use, you know, if you want to use people saying, oh, he was like giving a lap dance to the devil, well, in the music video he wasn't the devil. So I guess it could have been worse using your logic.